Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. So this week, just like last week, the class you are going to do yourself study. Okay. So I hope that this week too, all of you are doing well. Okay. That you are indoor at home, right, and keeping and staying safe. Okay. So this week is already week 5. Yeah. This week is already week 5. So in this week, we're going to discuss about Unit 5, which is memory and learning. I hope that by now, all of you have already bought the ebook. Okay. I did tell you, I think last week or even earlier, that by mid semester, I want everybody to have the ebook. Okay. All right. So in this unit, okay, we're going to learn 3 academic skills. Number 1, reading skill, how to identify cause and effect. Number 2, writing skill, how to use an outline before writing an essay. And then number 3, grammar. This is again to refresh your memory, right? Just to review, using by plus jiran. Okay, so let's start. Yeah, think and discuss. So you can think on your own and discuss on your own. Or if you have a friend next to you or your family members that you can discuss with, then you can do that as well. Okay. So the first question, what is your earliest memory? Can you remember the first or earliest memory that you have? Mm, some of us may have different memory. I mean, the earliest memory that we can remember. Some of you may remember when you were baby. Some of you maybe remember when you were toddler. Okay, and as for myself, I think my earliest memory would be when I'm not really sure the exact age, but I think around 4 or 5, because at that time I was I lived together with my grandparents. I'm not so sure for how many years. I think around 1 year. Okay, while my parents lived away from me. Okay, so they live in a town and I live in countryside with my grandparents. So I think that was my earliest memory. I couldn't remember when I was a baby. I couldn't remember that at all. I couldn't remember the house that we live in. Um, yeah, I couldn't remember, and it's okay. I think as long as you have your memory, that would be good enough. Yeah, rather than not remembering anything. That would be a problem, isn't it? Okay. So, yeah, as I said, each of us might have different early memories. Okay. So, why do you think that some people have better memories than others? Sometimes when we talk to our friends or even family members, yeah, when we reminiscing um those days, events that happened before, like long time ago, sometimes they can remember but we cannot remember. So why do you think? All right, so the reason is because it's actually lies in our brain. All right, the things in our brain. So memory, when we want to recall memory, all the process of recalling these informations or events that had happened before, it's all happening, all right, in our brain, all right, inside our brain. Okay, but don't feel sad if you couldn't remember a lot of things, right? Because um some other people can reminding you of that. Okay, but as long as we can as long as we have memory about other things, which is probably more important than us, that would be great. Yeah. So next, if you can take a look at your ebook, right? The next page, explore the theme. So if you take a look at the two pages, yeah, page 82 and 83, all right, that's a picture of a table, and on the table there are a lot of items or stuffs on it. Can you see that? Right. So now I want you to take a look at the picture. Okay, the picture, both pictures, the whole picture. All right, 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds, I want you to close your book, or minimize your ebook. Okay, and I want you to make a list. What are the items that you remembered from the picture? Okay, so you can do that now. Okay, have you finished? Okay, probably not yet 30 seconds, but you can just pause the video and then do that for 30 seconds. Yeah. So now let's take a look at your list, and you can open again the picture. Okay. You can maximize again your ebook. So as you can see, there are a lot of things, and now because you cannot compare with your friend, but you can do this with your family members, yeah, or your siblings if you have someone in your family that you can do this activity with. Um, as you can see, so from your list, so how many you know that you that you get it correct, that you got it correct? How many? From the picture itself, you see we have a lot of things. We have like pearl necklace, and then we have toy trend, and then we have the Reska toy, and then we have like light bulb, a small light bulb, and then we have keys, skipping rope, coins, and then we have, is it lace, pens, stamps, copper vase, and then we have this like wine glass. Then we have fly for fishing. Sorry, for fishing, right? We call this fly. And then we have like small. We have photographs. Okay, small bottle. We have small bottle, and we have teapot, or teacup, and then we have like perfume. What else we have? We have a necklace. Yeah, key. So a lot of things, right? And of course, 30 second probably short, okay, to some of us, and we couldn't memorize a lot of things, okay. But this is actually a very good exercise to actually help our um, brain to memorize things. All right, so that's done. Next. Okay, so how we actually remember, what is the process of recalling things or remembering things? Okay, so as I said earlier, it's actually depends on our brain. All right. So our brain, you see pictures about our brain, right? It's not a very big organ. We can fit in the palm of our hand, even though I never touched a brain before. But as from the picture, I think it's about a big as big as our palm. Okay, we can hold it on our palms. So anyway, so the brain is the most complex organ in the human body. So among other organs in our body, the brain, right, is the most complex organ. So again, the brain is not that big, but it has about 100 billion nerve cells or neurons. Yeah, and we make memories when connections are made between the brain neurons. And the more connections there are, the easier it is to recall. So when we try to recall things, the ones that do the work is actually the neurons. They try to make connections, right? So when these neurons are connected, okay, with the right path, okay, with the right neurons, then we can remember things. But if, let's say, the neurons could not make connection, so that's when we couldn't recall informations or memory, etc., etc. Okay, so when we talk about memory, all right, usually there are two. We have long-term memory and short-term memory. So things that happened a long time ago, for example, like childhood memory, things that happened like 5 years ago. 5 years was a long time ago, yeah. But we still remember it. Okay, we still can remember the thing that happened, information that we read like 5 years ago. So that's what we call as long term memory, just like what when you recall your earliest memory just now. Okay, so that's what are being stored in our long term memory. But as opposed to that, we have a short term memory where we have like telephone numbers. I only can remember my family telephone numbers, right? That many, all right? And some like my friends as well, but not all. Yeah, so that's why we have like phone books to help us, store all these telephone memories, and we can uh remember names of people that we just met, and all this like telephone numbers and names of people that we just met are being stored in our short-term memories. And those memory that being stored in short-term memories, um, they can either be transferred to the long-term memories, or they being deleted, you know. So it's actually depend. Yeah. So there are actually a lot of techniques to improve memory. Okay, for example, you can do like reading. You can do, people say you can do puzzles, math problems, even writing can help to improve your memory. In fact, even like exercising, doing these physical activities actually help a lot to your brain. Okay, so you can, I think you can do your own research on how to improve your memory. So here we have a graph. Okay, so as you can see, this is the blue line where it is visual recall. For example, like the shapes, the face. Okay, so anything that visual, and then the brown color is verbal recall, which is like names, etc., etc. Okay. Information as well is verbal recall. Yeah. So as you can see, the down below, the numbers that down below, 16, 32, those are referring to age. Referring to age, and the one that on the left side, on my left side, yeah, 170, that one is percentage of being correct when we recalling a memory. So as you can see, the graph are being, as we age, the graph are decreasing. Yeah, the graph are decreasing. This is because, as we age, as we get older, right, the connections between the neurons are weakened and sometimes lost. So that's why we couldn't memorize, a lot of things when we start to get older. And I think that's also a sign that we are getting older, that we are old, you know and just like when our body, our joint, when we get older, we tend to get tired easily. So right, I think that's similar to our brains as well, where we get rusty. Okay, the brains are, the neurons are being rusty. Okay, as we age. So that's why old people, like our grandparents, when we ask them, but not all, yeah, when we ask them, they couldn't memorize a lot of things, because this is because of the neurons. Okay, the neurons. But again, you can do a lot of techniques to improve on your memorization, just like our former um, prime minister was still very healthy and was still very active, mentally and physically. All right, Tun M, yeah, Tun M. He was like 90, isn't it? Usually people like him, they couldn't recall things very well, but he, um, that's God's greatest gift to him. Yeah, that he can still do a lot of the young people can do. All right. So anyway, so we're moving on to reading one, which is the art of memory. So I'm not going to read together with you. So I want you to read this on your own. Okay. Again, you can just pause the video. All right. So there are two pages here. You can pause the video so that you can read. And again, as you're reading, I want you to take notes, things that are important in the passage. Yeah. So you can read it now. Okay. So have you finished? If you haven't finished reading, again, just like I said, you can just, rewind and pause and you can continue reading. Yeah. So now that you have read the passage, okay, the reading one, so now I want you to do the vocabulary. So if you notice, when you were reading just now, they were this blue colored words. Yeah. So these words that you will be tested here. Okay, so the words in blue below are used in the reading passage on pages 85 to 86. I want you to complete each sentence with the correct word. You can use a dictionary if you don't know the meaning, um, any of the words. Yeah, so you can do that. Okay, have you done? All right, if you have finished, so let's check the answer. All right, so number one, if something looks familiar to you, you recognize it or know it very well. Familiar. Familiar means things that you can recognize. Okay, things that you know. Okay, so that when we call familiar. Number two, a text is a book or other written or printed work. This is easy. Yeah? Number three, things that exist inside a particular person, object, or place are called internal. Internal. Number four, things that exist outside a particular person, object, or place are external. Number five, when you visualize something, you form a picture of it in your mind. Number five, the answer is visualize. Number six, to memorize. To memorize means to learn something so that you will remember it exactly. Number seven, an achievement is something that is done successfully, especially after a lot of effort. Okay, so did you get all correct? So if you get 7/7, congratulations. All right, next. Now that you have read and understood the passage, okay, I want you to. I know that the reading one, the title given was The Art of Memory, but now that you have read, and if you could choose the best alternative title for the reading passage, so out of the three, we have A, modern memory techniques, we have B, memorization throughout history, and we have C, internal and external memory. So which one do you think the best title to replace the one that already put? Correct answer is B, memorization throughout history. As you can see through the passage, we are reading about um, how memorization from different century. So the correct answer is B. B boy, yeah, boy. Memorization throughout history. Okay, this one will take time. Okay, so you can pause the video again so that you can go back and uh, write down your answer. So answer the questions below using information from the reading passage. Okay, have you finished? If you haven't finished, you can just pause it, yeah? You can just pause the video. Alright, let's discuss the answer. So these are possible answers, yeah? But the answers are along these lines, yeah? Along this line. Okay, question number 1. What is the Loki method? Explain it in your own words. So this is in my own words, yeah? So it could be different from your own words, but I think the key points is there, yeah? So the Loki method is a way to remember things by visualizing them in different areas of a place that you know well. Okay, so the Loki method is a way to remember things by visualizing them in different areas of a place that you know well. Okay, number 2, what benefit did the Loki method have for Peter of Ravenna? Okay, so my answer, the Loki method is a way to remember things. Sorry. Um, Number 2, yeah. He was able to memorize religious texts, poems, speeches, etc., and could take them everywhere he went in his mind. Again, the answer, he was able to memorize religious texts, poems, speeches, etc., and could take them everywhere he went in his mind. Okay. Number 3, according to Mary Currentis, why was memory so important in the past? Why? This is my answer. Because most people did not have books or pens to write notes with. So they had to remember things to preserve their society's cultural heritage. Again, yeah, because most people did not have books or pens to write notes with, so they had to remember things that to preserve their society's cultural heritage. Because as we read, yeah, like those days they don't have papers, they don't have pens, all right, because those times still not yet invented or created, so they rely more on memorization. Okay, so that's why memory was very important those days. All right, last one. What is one example of the important role of memory in certain cultures today? Okay, possible answers, memorizing religious texts or myth and folk tales. Okay, memorizing religious texts or myth and folk tales. Myth, you know, and folk tales are things that usually our grandparents would share to us. Usually they are not factual. Okay, so they are not recorded in anywhere. So that's why memory are still important in certain cultures. Not every culture, yeah, in certain cultures. So there you go. So those are the answers for these 4 questions. All right. So next, see. Read the list of memory techniques and devices below. If the item relates to internal memory, circle I. If it relates to external memory, circle E. So this is easy, yeah? Repetition. Is it internal or external? Sometimes when we try to memorize something, especially I still remember when um if we for oral tests, so we have to repeat a lot of many times in order for us to memorize them. So repetition is what? Is it internal or external? It's actually internal. Internal, yeah. What about books? Books. Books is external. External. Photographs is also sorry. Photographs is also external. Loci method. This is definitely internal. tablet computers is external. So we have repetition, internal, books, external, photographs, external, Loki method, internal, and tablet computers, external. Okay, so far so good. I hope that you are still here with me, right? Though I cannot see you or hear from you. So anyway, so let's move on, yeah? Next, we move on to reading skill. Okay, so this is how to develop your reading skills. Even reading, we need to have skills, yeah? Um, Identifying cause and effect. So a cause is something that makes another event happen. Okay, cause, the reason why something happens. So we call it a cause. And the resulting event or the effect from that event, from the cause, we call it effect. Okay, so the resulting event. Okay, so by recognizing causes and effects, it can help you better understand a reading passage. Okay, so look at the sentence below, yeah? Does the underlined position show a cause or an effect? So let's take a look. If you think of a very familiar place and visualize certain things in that place, then you can keep those things in your memory for a long time. So those words in underlined. So what it is? What is it? Is it a cause or an effect? Okay, you are correct. The answer is effect. So the one that not being underlined, so that one is the cause. So the effect, so the effect of you familiarize or visualize things, right, is you can keep your memory for a long time. So that is the effect. The visualize things within a family place is the cause. Okay, and keeping memories for a long time is the effect. Okay. So you can sometimes you can identify cause and effect relationships by finding certain connecting or single or signal words in the passage. Yeah. For example, we have because, so, if, and then some phrases, and then we have therefore, as a result. We can also use by plus verb plus ing. We're going to learn about this after this, yeah? The by plus verb plus ing. So this how you can identify the cause and effect relationships in the passage by looking at this signal words. Okay, for example, we don't have to remember phone numbers now because we can store them in our cell phones. So you can see because of the word because, all right, we know there's a connection between cause and effect. Okay. I enter my email password 3 times a day, so I remember it easily. All right. So now I want you to do this. I want you to read the information about memorization techniques. How many cause effect relationships that you can find? You circle the clause and underline, you circle the causes and underline their effects. Okay. Okay. Are you done? So if you're not yet done, you can just pause the video, right? So you can have more time for you to do the exercise. Yeah. All right. So this is the answer. What does it say? It said that underline their effect. So the ones that being highlighted are the effects. All right. So those the ones that being highlighted are the effects. So you can compare with your answers whether you got them correct. Okay, let's move on. Reading two, this is you can do on your own. I'm not going to discuss, all right, but it's very interesting, yeah. What is actually happening during our sleep and why sometimes we have dream. And do you know that actually during our sleeping time, um, this is where the memory from the short term memory being transferred into the long term memory. So you can read this on your own, yeah, for for extra informations how actually sleep help you to get better or to memorize a lot of things. Some people said if you have an exam, so before you usually when people have exam, they don't want to go to sleep, isn't it? Because they're so anxious, nervous for an exam. But actually, it's better for you to sleep because when you sleep, actually you can memorize a lot of things better, right? So yeah, you can read this on your own. Okay. So, according to Michael Freary, he said that our brains are very active during sleep, and research has shown that adequate sleep is important to our overall health, safety, and performance. That's why doctors often advise us to have at least 6, 7, or 8 hours of sleeping. Right, 7 or 8 hours of sleeping, adequate sleep. Right, not less than that, and not more than that. Okay, so that's why sleeping is very important. Okay, so those of you did not like to sleep, so it could affect your memory, right? Now, second last one is exploring written English. Okay, now let's read the sentences below, and above each underlined portion, the one being underlined, yeah, write C if it shows the cause, or E if it shows the effect. So number one, by using Loki method, Peter of Ravenna was able to read books stored in his memory palaces. So number one, by using the Loki method, so that one is what? Cause or effect. Okay. Number two, you can memorize the colors of the rainbow in the order that they appear by using the acronym ROYGBIV. Okay. Three, by learning I before E except after C where you hear double E, students of English can remember the spelling of words like niece and receipt. Number four, Nelson Dallas set a record in the card event of the USA Memory Championship by creating a coding system for his cards. Number five, by taking part in regular physical activity, you can increase self-esteem and reduce stress. A lot of people are not really keen into doing physical activity. Yeah, do that, especially in this pandemic. Number six, by avoiding stress, you may improve your memory. Okay, so let's see the answer. Okay, so number one, by using the Lecky method, so that one is the cause. The effect is because of Loki method. Okay, the effect Peter Ravenna was able to read books stored in his memory palaces. Number two, the one that being underlined is the effect. Because you use acronym, you can memorize the rainbow colors. Number three, the one that being underlined is the effect. So the effect is you can remember the spelling. So what is the cause? Okay, you remember by learning I before E except after C, right? Number four, the one that being underlined is also the effect. Okay. Um, how can he win or set a record? Because of his coding system. His coding system is the cause, and the effect of his coding system is that he can set a record in the cut event of USA Memory Championship. Number five, the one that being underlined is the cause, and then number six is the effect. Right. So did you actually notice? Okay, in each sentence we have this like by. We are using by. We have like by using the first one, number two by using, then number three by learning, number four we have like by creating, number five we have by taking part, number six by avoiding stress. So this is what we're going to learn today, right? This is just to review. I'm sure that you have heard Jiran before. Yeah, what exactly is Jiran? So last week we discussed about tenses, isn't it? Okay, so this week it's also a tenses. It's also a part of grammar. Sorry, not a tense. This is part of grammar, right? This is using by plus to run. So again, if you remember just now, I said how to know cause and effect relationship. One of them is by using by plus verb plus ing. Okay, so that's actually to run. So there are many ways to show cause and effect relationship in your writing. One of them is by using by plus gerund phrase. So what exactly gerund? Gerund is a verb form that ends in ing. Sometimes, if you notice that we use verb but with ing, usually we said that ing we only use it for present continuous, isn't it? Either past continuous or present continuous. But for example, here, all right, go back here, yeah. For example, here, there's no present continuous form. Meaning, usually when we say present continuous, usually we use with is or are plus ing at the back, isn't it? If it past tense, past continuous, was or were plus ing, isn't it? But if you see here, none of them. We just use by plus using. So using is actually a gerund. Okay. So it's actually a verb, but we add ing. Okay. It's actually a verb. We add ing. So we call it gerund. Okay. Gerund. And this gerund usually we use with by. Okay. By. Okay. That's why you notice in your readings or sometimes even when you are speaking, when you use by, the verb after it must be in ing form. So that what we call as gerund, like this. By using the Loki method, okay, by using the acronym, by learning, by creating, by taking part, by avoiding. So those are what we call as to run using learning creating taking avoiding, those are gerund. They are verb but in a form of gerund. Okay, I hope that you can understand this. So in a by plus gerund phrase, it describes an activity that is the cause of something. Okay, the rest of the sentence expresses the result or the effect. So usually when you use by plus gerund, it actually shows the cause of something. For example, by exercising regularly, so that is the cause, and The other sentence, all right, is the effect. You can improve your memory. All right. So what is the effect of exercising? Improving your memory. So you can use this by plus gerund to show cause and effect relationship in your writing. All right. And by plus gerund phrases can appear at the beginning or at the end of a sentence, right? If it appears at the beginning of a sentence, you need to use a comma, all right? For example, by getting enough sleep, comma, you can improve your memory. But if it's appear in the middle or usually in the middle, yeah, not really at the end of sentence, you did not have to use the comma. Okay, you can improve your memory by getting enough sleep. But if you are using it in front of the sentence, then you have to use a comma. By getting enough sleep, comma, you can improve your memory. You can keep your brain healthy by eating foods that are high in antioxidants. Okay, by eating foods that are high in antioxidants, comma, you can keep your brain healthy. Right? So I hope that you can understand. So what is gerund? Okay, gerund is a verb, but there's ing at the end. Okay, so verb form plus ing, and usually this gerund you can use with by. Okay, by plus gerund. And when to use by? Usually to show a cause and effect relationship in your writing. For example, by using the Loki method, this is the cause. Peter of Ravenna was able to read books stored in his memory palaces. Okay, you can memorize the colors of the rainbow in the order that they appear by using the acronyms ROY, G, B, I, V. Okay, by learning the I blah 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 blah, students of English can remember blah 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 blah. Okay, so as you can see here, the usage of by plus gerund is to show cause and effect relationship. Okay, so I hope that you can understand this. Okay, so there are two quizzes for you in order to test your understanding of gerund. Okay, make sure you answer this before 14, sorry, yeah, before 14 November. Before, when I said before 14, meaning to say 13, you need to answer it already. All right, last one, yeah, writing skill. Using an outline. I'm sure that all of you by now have experienced how to write an outline. Even in the secondary school, when we were writing an essay, before we write the essay, our teacher would ask us to write an outline. Okay. The Malay call, I'm not going to say it. Okay. But there's a, you know, skeleton we call. Okay. Essay skeleton. But here we call it outline. I'm sure that you know, isn't it? I'm sure that you know how to write an outline. So why outline is important before we start writing anything, even your assignment, you have to write an outline. Okay, what's in introduction, what would be in the, in the content, and then in the conclusion. Okay, so a lot of writings, I think, in even in different form, even story, you need to have an outline to help you organize and develop your ideas before you write. And a good outline is like a map. Okay, it's like a map. It gives you something to follow while you write. For example, okay, you know when you need to write the introduction, and then the body paragraph, and then the supporting details, okay, and then the conclusion. Okay, so it's like a map. You know, when you drive and then you look at the navigation system, the GPS, it's like a map. You know where to follow, which route, to go until you reach the destination. It's the same like outline. They tell you in which way for you to write. Okay, like what is an introduction, the first one, second one, third one, and then the conclusion. So by following an outline, you can improve the flow of your writing. Okay, the flow of your writing. Outline also helps make sure you don't miss any important points or include any unrelated information, because usually anything that in the outline, something that is related to the points that you want to write. So that's why it's very important for you to write an outline. So as you can see here, this is, they say I couldn't open. Anyway, I will open. Well, I'm sure that you know how to. I will upload the essay outline has been uploaded on Smart V3, yeah. So you can check them out. I'm not sure if I can show it here. Hold on, yeah. So these are example of outline. Yeah. Okay. So next week, so that's the end. Actually, that's the end for this unit. That's the end for this unit. Yeah. Okay. If you have any question regarding the unit, you can ask me in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So this week, I already approved all of your essay title. Okay, so what you need to do this week is to do research essay, on your essay topic. Okay, you start doing your research. You can find uh, from the internet. You can find from the library online. You can find from research database. Okay, a Google Scholar, or even your textbook. Yeah, because it's related to um your field of study. So remember in the first week of class, I mentioned that the essay assignment, this is individual, yeah. The essay assignment has three parts, right? So this is the first part, which is the outline. Before you start writing your essay, you need to prepare an outline first. Okay. But this one, okay, before 21st November. Okay, so you have roughly around 2 weeks to prepare this. Okay, so for this week, what you need to do is to do your own research on your essay topic, right? And you know, find as many as um, references that you can get. And while you are looking at those references, make sure you take note of that, where you get the references, because I need those references, all right, to be put together when you submit to me your essay later on, so that there's no plagiarism detected. If there's a plagiarism detected, then be you will fail the course. Yeah, I will give you 0. So this week, ahead of your essay assignment part 1, which is outline, there's marks. Yeah, 10%. You need to do your research on your essay topic. Okay. And after you've done your research, then you can start preparing your essay outline. Don't worry, the essay outline template, okay, has been uploaded on Smart V3, and you still have 2 weeks to go. At least you have like 2 weeks to go. Okay, roughly around 2 weeks to submit your essay outline. I will remind you again next week. Okay, so you have to submit it before 21st November, and it must be typewritten. And typewritten again. When you are doing your research, make sure you um, save all those addresses, the URL, okay? Because I need them to be the references, and you need to compile those references, okay, to be submitted together, so that to avoid your plagiarism. So I guess that's the end of the class this week. Yeah, I hope that you can do your own self study. I'm sorry if I'm being too fast. Okay, so if it's too fast, then you can just rewind it and pause it as much as you like. That's why I did um this video. All right, so that for those of you who have difficulty um, following me because I'm a bit fast. Okay, so you can just pause it, take your time, right? And if you don't understand anything, then you can just write it down. You can ask me through the WhatsApp group. Yeah. So that's the end for this week. Okay, so don't forget you have to answer 2 quizzes in order for your attendance. Okay, for this week. Um. So anyway, that's all the time for this week. So before we end, just a quote. Okay, it said that memories triggered by scent have the strongest emotional connections and appear more intense than other memory triggers. This is very true, yeah. Yeah, this is very true for me in scent in my okay. So anyway, not gonna talk about it because it's the end already. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Please stay safe. Stay safe. All right. Please stay indoor. If you go outside, make sure you wear mask and wash your hands with soap and water or sanitizers if you have, yeah. Um, every time. So anyway, thank you so much. I will see you next week. All right. Assalamualaikum and thank you. Bye bye.